What's good, everybody? It's Big Game James, man. I'm back in the building and just giving my quick thoughts to aftermath of the Seattle Cowboys game. If you watch my preview, I'm just going to talk about the things that I wanted to preview in that game. First of all, if we're talking about, we'll get to the injuries. Well, you know what? Let's get those injuries out the way now. First, you had four injuries actually in that game. Matt, well, let's go injured his shoulder. I'm sure you already heard these news, but you haven't heard it from me, so there it is. But Matt, well, let's go hurt his shoulder. It was the opposite shoulder, so that's a good thing. So he's more day to day, and hopefully he'll be able to play against Las Vegas, I believe, our last game, because he still needs to get some good work. So hopefully he'll be there. The devastating injuries. Red Wine went out. The safety, I believe, he went out as well. I don't know what really happened to him, but Red Wine, I believe, the safety went out. But the two devastating injuries, obviously, we all heard it. John Stevens Jr.'s, John Stevens Jr. and of course DeMarvion Overshown. First, John Stevens Jr. Huge, just devastating because he came in undrafted, 6'6", receiver turned tight end, was the darling of camp. Everybody around Cowboys was speaking about him. Cowboys.com. Everybody, he was like the guy that was putting pressure on possibly McEwen and Peyton Hendershot. He was actually threatening their roster spots because we thought it was going to be those four guys. So he was a pleasant surprise. He looked like he actually might could get some work in the regular season, but he hurt his knee, torn ACL. He'll be out for the year. He's already said the comeback's going to be better than the setback, and we're ready. If there's any positive out of that, is that you lost him, but you're going to have him for next year. So there could be changes in the air as far as the tight end room, so he could be welcomed right in. Also, you could have possibly lost Hendershot if he stayed over Hendershot, and you possibly let Hendershot go and try to let him clear waivers, because I felt like McEwen was safe. I didn't think, but then when I saw what McEwen added to the table, blocking, H-back, tight end, can catch, he had a lot of things, and he was running with the first team a lot, so I felt like he's going to stay. Hendershot was more of the who knows, because he had the same kind of skill set like Stevens, but Stevens was faster. Stevens ran like a 4.6. Hendershot ran like a 4.7. But inline speed, I think Hendershot was probably better, a little better blocking. But now you're going to probably keep Henne. You're going to keep your original four and Ferguson, Henne, McEwen, and your draft pick in Luke Schoonmaker. So tough break for John Stevens, but it looks good for next year. The huge, big, devastating one was the Marvion Overshown, for the simple fact that he came on like gangbusters. That was your third round draft pick. There was a lot of talk about him, before. After you drafted him, 6'3", 230. I mean, linebacker, safety turned linebacker. He could play both, a hybrid role. You saw with Donovan Wilson. You saw in J-Ron Curse. He was in that mold, and he was turning up on camp. He was another guy he was the darling of camp. Everybody was talking about him. We thought big things were about to happen for him. Thought it was going to be a red shirt for a year for him, but he came on gangbusters, and you saw him probably going to niche out a role this year. And with that speed that he had and that enthusiasm, I think it was the enthusiasm, the way he played. He was just so enthusiastic. He just had that energy that just lighted up the team, man. And I felt like that energy was going to carry over in the regular season and really help the squad. And Dan Quinn was really going to find a role for him, and he was going to be like our Swiss Army knife, that guy that you don't really know, but she's just going to come in there and just make plays. And I think that's what we were all excited about, and that's what we saw. So it was tough. He had 3 tackles before he got hurt, and that was like in the first quarter. So devastating. The good thing about it is, though, if there is any good, is that I didn't think he was going to play before all the turn up. I thought it was going to be a redshirt year, and I was looking more towards 2024, not 2023 in my book. So he was a rookie, so you weren't serious. You didn't know how much you were going to count on him. So that's the only silver lining. And other guys, you still have other guys that that he was pushing, and now there's their opportunity to step up. But Devastating for both those guys. Like I said I was devastated. Like when Sean Lee got hurt, I was devastated when he got hurt in 2014. So this is along the same lines with me. But let's talk about the game right quick and some things that I kind of put in the air. Number one, I wanted to see the Seattle Seahawks. If you looked at my pregame, Seattle Seahawks see if they could play their guys, their starters for a couple series, which they did. Geno Smith, starter, didn't score on us. I like that. They had their way a little bit in run games, but I think it was maybe some holding, maybe kick, where Cabernet got a big run. I can't remember the other running back. I think he ran for 50 yards. I don't think they killed us. Everybody's talking about they dominated us and we didn't look good in that game. I don't agree with that. I don't think we looked terrible in that game. We had a 17-play drive for a touchdown. Will Greer won 13 to 18, like for 140, I believe. He had the bad interception that could have gave us the lead, but gave up 4 sacks. Running lanes weren't huge, but Malik Davis Rico Dowdle ran strong. Once again, I said I wanted to see him again, and 8 carries for 38 yards, had 4.8 yards a carry. Malik Davis had a big run. He had over 30 yards on 8 carries. He averaged 4 yards a carry. Deuce Vaughn scored a ridiculous spin move touchdown. So even though it wasn't huge what the running game was, I thought it was positives as far as what you saw in it. So I love the running back room, and I like it. And those guys did nothing to dispel that. And Rico Dowdell is my number 2 running back. Deuce Vaughn will be the 3, and we'll see what happens with Malik Davis. I think you can probably carry him on the practice squad because running back isn't huge in the NFL no more. So I don't think they would be beating down the door, and I think he could clear waivers. Obviously, receivers we wanted to talk about was Jalen Brooks. I said that was forcing it with him a little bit last game. He didn't have but 1 catch, but it was a big catch, a huge catch on a 4th down. I like Jalen Brooks. He's your 7th-round draft pick. I think he makes the team somehow, some way. Simi Fehoko, 1 catch, negative yards. They tried the quick bubble screen again. It didn't work in this game, and obviously they went to him for the touchdown. And I don't know if it was miscommunication on him. I got to watch more tape between him, Greer, and Fehoko, but they were right there to score the touchdown, and it was interception. So, but Jalen Tolbert was the darling once again. I said I wanted to see him put back-to-back games, and he did. 4 catches, 66 yards. 3 of them, I believe, were for first downs. He had a big catch on a big 3rd down play. He continues to step up his role. He solidified that number 4. I don't think he should play in the preseason game against Las Vegas. I think he's shown what he has shown. I think he's shown that he's ready to play and he's ready to go. So I don't think we need to continue to see more of him. He solidified that 4th role, and now he's your backup as far as if Michael Gallup gets hurt. He's injury prone. We've seen Brandon Cooks have some injuries as well. So now he's a guy that you might have some confidence in and stepping into that role if anybody gets injured. And he has athletic ability. He's fast enough. He's long enough. He's big enough. And, he's a threat. So we love what we've seen from Jalen Tolbert once again, and I like that receiver room. I think all the draft picks are going to make the roster this season, and I definitely feel like our receiver room is going to be underrated, so I love what they showed. Offensive line, people were complaining. Matt Willetsko went out with the injury. We talked about that. Had the shoulder injury, so hopefully he gets better. He gave up some pressures. I told him, Boy Mafe was a guy that I liked in the draft, and I wanted to see how that matchup happened. He got the best of him. I think 10 pass pro snaps. He gave up 3 pressures, and Mafe was putting pressure on him. And he's still got to learn how to get his arms extended. You got all that length. You got to get them arms out to get extended. Continue to play with power. It gets a little uneven. So those are things he needs to continue to work on. But hopefully we'll see promise. Josh Ball's the guy I want to talk about right quick because everybody's been hating on Josh Ball, saying he's trash, he's terrible, he's no good, woo-woo, blah, blah, blah. But I beg to differ on that. I think Josh Ball is playing better. I like him at the guard position better than the tackle. We know he's a backup, so we understand that. But I think he can morph into a quality backup. He's playing with power. His footwork is getting better. I think you see the improvements game to game. And I think we need to give this guy a chance. Like we were complaining about Terrence Steele in 2020, and he didn't play the greatest in 2020. He was getting work, gave up a gang of sacks. But look how Terrence Steele has turned out. We're not saying Josh Ball's Terrence Steele, but we're saying Terrence Steele went undrafted, and look how he turned out. So Josh Ball, fourth round draft pick. He wasn't a first round draft pick, so we can understand that. Just like Waletzko, I think he was in the seventh round. So these guys weren't high picks, so we gotta understand they're not going to be world beaters. But for what they're doing right now, I see positives in Josh Ball, and I like him continuing to be better as the backup. Sim Richards is a guy that we had Nick Harris on there, and he said he'd like to see him at left tackle. I've been saying I want Tyler Smith at left tackle, but we understand Tyron Smith is there. But when we're looking at Sim Richards and what he's brought to the table, I like it. I like it a lot. I like how he's continued to grow. He's long. He's a little bit lean. Got to maybe get some more strength, but good footwork. I like how he kicks. He gets his hands on. He gets his hands extended. A lot of potential from him, and we'll see how it goes. Really, probably don't want to see him this year, but going forward to next year, he could be that left tackle, and you could keep Tyler Smith at left guard. But we understand that. But Sim Richards, Stargazer, have been talking about him. Sim Richards, I love the positives from him. I like Sim Richards. Jumping on the defense, Mozzie Smith, people are hating on Mozzie, say, we shouldn't have picked him in the first round. He ain't this, he ain't that. I posted what Pro Football Focus said. He had an uneven game. They were manipulating him at the snap. He's got to play with better technique, better footwork. He's okay, though. He's 6'3", 330 pounds, man. This is a work in progress with him. We knew that he was not a pass rusher. He wasn't a pass rusher in college, but he could play that run good, and they wanted to see him solely how he played the run. Didn't play bad the first game. I think it was a little uneven, but the thing with him is he's just got to play with better technique, stay on balance, play with proper technique, stay low. Like I said, those guys that are playing against him, I think he's trying to outmuscle everybody and just trying to push everybody off, and that's not going to happen in the NFL. These guys are playing with technique, especially these veterans. They're going to get you off your spot if you play with the proper technique, and I believe that's all it is. I believe we're going to continue to see Mozzie Smith grow. I have no worries about him. I don't feel bad about Mozzie. People are going crazy. You hear a few things. He's not getting 10 sacks or blowing up the line. Now he's trash. No, stop doing that. He's a big man, work in progress. That's what big man LSU or Vita Vea. It just don't happen for all those guys like that. Those guys take a little bit of time to grow in that middle. You get what I'm saying? But I like him. Sam Williams, he got a sack. Stop being goofy, Sam Williams, getting them bad penalties. You keep doing it. Stop getting those bad penalties. That's the one thing I want him to stop doing, is getting those bad penalties. Because we gave up 2 penalties that gave them touchdowns. We had them stopped on 4th downs. We gave them touchdowns with that. So it wasn't like they was just blowing us out the water. We gave them penalties to give them touchdowns. So that's something that we got to watch, because Dallas had a problem with penalties. Isaiah Land, love him. Got a sack. Stays in that backfield. I don't know if he could be a stand-up rusher. He's 6'3", 225, so he don't have a lot of weight. I don't know if you can stand him up, but if you could stand him up, do something with him. But he's got to stay on the roster, and I don't want him practice squad guy. He's got to be on the roster, be able to get in there and get some tick, because he's not lacking. He's a good player, and there are a lot of good things with Isaiah Land. Jay Tuck was talking about him. I second it. He's a guy you got to get on the field. Sack King. Jay Tuck said it. Sack King, he is a sack artist. He's a guy that gets after the quarterback. You got to find a role for him. Dante Fowler was active. I like the defense, how the defense played. You had a good Jabril Cox play better. This is Devin Harper and Jabril Cox time. This is your time for you guys to step up. Malik Jefferson's hurt. We'll see. But I said something about Rashawn Jones, I believe, came from the Falcons. Is it Jones? But he could be a cheap guy. 27, had 150 tackles for the Atlanta last year, was a draft pick from the Titans. He's a cheap guy that you can look at too, Cowboys. But Devin Harper, Jabril Cox continue to step up. I think they might look at the waiver wire. Kelvin Joseph continues to play good. Those are positive. Eric Scott, your draft pick. They've been working him a little bit, but he's a rookie. But we still see potential out of him. Marquise Bell, I like him. But that linebacker room, you may get somebody off the waiver wire. I mentioned from the Titans and the Falcons. Look at him, Rashawn. I believe it was Jones. Look for him to possibly something happening with that on that front. Don't worry about Mozzie. He's going to be okay. We got a lot of rotation on that defensive line. That feels good. And Kelvin Joseph is playing better, and I like that because I don't want to just throw him away. I want to be able to use him too. So that's just my quick thoughts. I don't want to hold too long. I'm at work doing my thing. But check out Burgers and Blitzes tonight. It's going down. Me and Mike White. I believe it's at our same time at 6:30. If not, might be a little bit early. So go out there, smash this like button, hit that support. If you'd like to donate, you can hit the heart button. Donations. It's a tough month for me. If you want to throw any donations, it'd be greatly appreciated. I'm going through some things this month, and would help if y'all was helping a little bit out financially. I'm not begging, but it's just what it is. But Burgers and Blitzes, we got the final word with the Philly showdown and the best of enemies. Great things happening for that podcast, so make sure you go support that. But smash that like button. Check this out. We got Burgers and Blitzes tonight. Love you guys. We'll be talking to you soon. But I didn't see the negatives like that. I thought we got good positives except for the injuries. But tell me how you liked the video. Give me your thoughts. Big Game James. I'm out. Peace.